The night was thick with silence, and the air carried the weight of something unnatural. Beyond the forgotten highway, a lone town rested in ruins, swallowed by vines and shadows, where the rusted sign at the entrance read only faintly, "Welcome to Blackridge." No one had lived here for decades, yet every whispered tale warned that something still moved in the dark streets, something that never left. A man named Aaron had heard these stories, his entire childhood tales of a cursed town where time stopped, where the church bell rang at midnight, though no priest had touched it in 50 years, and where windows reflected faces that did not belong to the living. Aaron was not a man easily shaken. An amateur historian, he spent his nights digging into places forgotten by history, and Blackridge had become his obsession. He believed the town wasn't cursed at all, but rather hiding secrets long buried by human hands. With only a flashlight, a recorder, and the determination of a man who wanted answers, Aaron entered the town as the sun disappeared behind the jagged trees. At first, the silence felt almost peaceful. The cracked roads stretched endlessly, lined with houses whose doors hung open like gaping mouths. The wind whistled through broken glass, sounding eerily like whispers. He pressed record on his device. Blackridge, 11:42 p.m., beginning exploration. But as soon as his voice echoed through the empty street, something stirred. A faint flicker of movement rippled across the second floor of an abandoned house. The light beam of his flashlight trembled as he raised it, but the window was empty. Still, his heart pounded harder. He moved deeper into the town, reaching the heart of Blackridge where the church stood crooked at the center, like a sentinel watching him. Its doors were chained, but the chains looked fresh, as though someone still wanted to keep something inside. Aaron leaned closer, studying the locks, when the sound of footsteps broke the silence. They were slow, deliberate, echoing against the stone path, but when he spun around, the street was empty. He laughed nervously to himself, pressing the recorder again. Possible auditory illusion, or residual echo. His words trailed as a heavy thud struck behind the church doors, rattling the chains. Aaron stumbled backward, and for a moment, he thought he heard breathing, raspy, inhuman, scraping against the wood. He forced himself to turn away, deciding to check the houses instead. The first house he entered smelled of rot and mildew. The walls were smeared with old handprints, too high for a child, too frantic for an adult. His flashlight followed them until it landed on the stairs. They curved into darkness, and though every instinct told him not to climb, his curiosity dragged him step by step upward. At the top, a hallway stretched, lined with doors that seemed to breathe with the house itself. He chose one and pushed it open. The room was a child's bedroom, frozen in time, with dolls sitting neatly on a shelf. Their glass eyes reflected his light with an almost hungry stare. Aaron muttered into the recorder, "Objects left undisturbed. Possible abandonment during sudden evacuation." But then, the dolls' heads moved. Not dramatically, not cinematic, just subtle enough for him to doubt what he saw. Yet when he blinked, they were facing him, all of them, their eyes fixed like tiny predators. His throat tightened. He left the room, shutting the door too hard, and the sound echoed like a gunshot. That's when he noticed another sound, bare feet padding behind him on the wooden floor. He spun, but the hallway was empty. He whispered into the recorder now, his voice shaking. "Something's here." He didn't realize until too late that the door at the end of the hall was open. It hadn't been before. Drawn by dread, he walked toward it, each step heavier, until he reached the doorway. Inside was a mirror, tall and cracked, covered in dust, but it reflected not one Aaron, but two. His reflection lingered even when he moved. The second Aaron smiled when he did not. He froze. The air in the room turned bitter cold, his breath visible. Then, the reflection raised a hand slowly, as if beckoning him to come closer. Terrified, Aaron fled the house, his footsteps pounding down the stairs, through the broken door, and into the street. His lungs burned, his vision swam, and he realized the town was no longer silent. Voices whispered all around him, overlapping, muttering words he couldn't understand. Some laughed, some wept, some screamed. He clutched his recorder, whispering, "Black Ridge is not abandoned. It's alive." But when he looked at the device, its red light was off. It hadn't recorded a single thing. He stumbled backward, his flashlight flickering. The houses no longer looked empty. Shadows filled the windows, shapes pressed against the glass, watching him with hunger. He forced himself toward the exit of the town, but the road was gone. Where there had been cracked asphalt leading out, now there was nothing but forest, endless and suffocating. Black Ridge had swallowed him whole. The church bell rang. Midnight. The chains shattered as if struck from the inside, the doors slamming open, and what stepped out was no priest, no man, but a towering figure wrapped in darkness, its limbs too long, its head crooked like it had broken its own neck to see him. It moved without sound, gliding toward him, and every window, every shadow, every whisper echoed one word: "Stay." Aaron dropped the recorder, his flashlight clattering to the ground, its beam rolling across the cobblestones. The last thing it illuminated was dozens of faces, pale and rotted, crawling out of the houses toward him. They had been here all along, the residents of Black Ridge, forever trapped in the hour when time had stopped. And now, Aaron was one of them. The town had claimed another soul, and somewhere, far beyond the forest, the sign at the entrance flickered faintly in the moonlight. "Welcome to Black Ridge, the town that never lets you leave."